Comrades and friends, welcome to the program Global Weekly News, series number 138. First we go to Kenya of Africa. Kenya's private port workers in the coastal city of Mombasa are fighting against severe exploitation and oppressive working conditions. The 2023 collective bargaining agreements, which sets rates for daily labor, overtime, Sunday work and waiting hours, shall be implemented, the demand of the protesters. In the last week of January, thousands of private port workers staged mass protests. Workers were violently repressed by the Kenyan police, who were deployed at the request of warehouse owners and contractors. As per the collective agreement, effective from 1st February 2023, daily labor rates for an 8-hour shift was $6.8. It was increased to $7.1 in 2024. The companies that profit from their labor through maritime pilotage, tugboat assistance, stewarding, tally clerking, bulking, blending, sorting, loading and offloading continue to exploit them while disengaging their basic labor rights. The Communist Party Marxist Kenya issued a strong statement condemning the brutal attack on warehouse workers with the complicity of both employers and the state. The party denounced the use of armed goons to suppress workers' resistance. Second, we go to London, where there was a conference on Latin American affairs. Latin American Conference in London. Every year, the Latin American Conference is held in London to discuss key developments in the region and how to strengthen the solidarity movement in the United Kingdom. The main speakers are Sinn Féin MP Chris Hazard, MP from Ireland, MP from Jeremy Corbyn, England, Venezuela ambassador and daughter of Che Guevara, Dr. Aleida Guevara, and Vijay Prasad, Marxist and Executive Director of Tricontinental Institute of Research and Development. The conference is organized by the National Education Union, the Indian Workers Association, the Cuba Solidarity Campaign, the Trades Union Congress, Nicaragua, Venezuela and Brazil Solidarity Campaigns. MP Chris Hazard spoke in the closing panel, Building a Better World, US Hands Off Latin America. The top 1% in the global north extracts $3 crore per hour from the global south. 9 billionaire oligarchs now as a post in Trump's cabinet. These oligarchs view the world as a vast collection of resources of Mexico, Gaza, all now in the crosshairs of this. These oligarchs view the world as a vast collection of resources that should belong to the USA and its allies. Greenland, Panama, Canada, the Gulf of Mexico, Gaza, all now in the crosshairs of these billionaire bandits. Great challenges lie ahead, but also great opportunities too. Capitalism has no solutions. It is a catalyst for further catastrophe, for war, for destitution, hate and racism. Now is the time to build socialist alternative and international solidarity in that endeavor. Vijay Prasad spoke as follows: We are building a new world. The center of gravity of the world has gone to Asia. The US is terrified by that. 57 out of the critical technologies, 64 technologies, 57 out of 64 critical technologies are now being led by China. In 20 years, China has overtaken the US in critical technologies, and that is why they despair over. America is frustrated. They don't know how to compete in an Adam Smith way of the Chinese. They don't know how to build things. They know how to blow up the bridges. They don't know how to build them anymore. They don't know how to build aircrafts properly. Electric cars, many built in China, built in Asia. The world is changing. The center of gravity has shifted. They know that. Next, comrades, regarding migrants, protests are rising in US against deportation of migrants. With the immigration authorities in the US making over 1,000 arrests per day, a movement is growing from the bottom up against Trump's escalating anti-immigrant policies. One important activist in the protest spoke thus: "I am here in Times Square of New York, where there is a march and rally against Trump's mass deportation raids, which are happening across the country. Right now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is conducting upwards of 1,000 raids and arrests per day. There is a growing mass movement of immigrant communities and those in solidarity with the immigrant workers against this mass deportation attempt, with the response networks and organizing meetings happening all over the country in response to Trump and against Trump's billionaire agenda. Immigrants are not the cause of the housing crisis. They are not the cause of the job crisis. Our enemy is in Wall Street. Our enemy is the billionaire class. Our communities have been targeted by this government, not just in this administration, for decades, and we are sick and tired of being the scapegoat for these billionaires who don't deserve a penny of the wealth that they have accumulated. This immigrant rights movement is not just saying no to racism. We are not just saying that immigrants are human beings. We are saying that this is a working class movement, that our enemies are one and the same. Our enemies are billionaires like Elon Musk. There are clowns like Trump. They make their millions off the back of millions of workers here in this country and abroad. Fourth, we go to Bangladesh, our neighborhood. Bangladesh attacks against the monuments of Mujibur Rahman. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the founding leader of the Awami League, which led the fight against Pakistan in 1971 for the liberation of the country. He became Bangladesh's first president and also served as Prime Minister later. He was assassinated inside his house on 15th August 1975 during a military coup. His house also serves as a museum of liberation, with several other buildings nearby hosting Awami League offices. In 1990s, parliamentary democracy was restored. Awami League and Bangladesh National Party came to power alternatively. In recent decades, Bangladesh attained significant economic progress due to development of garment industry, remittances from abroad by Bangladesh migrants, and infrastructure development. Awami League, led by Mujibur Rahman's daughter, Sheikh Hasina, came to power in 2009. Though the economic progress continued, it was criticized as authoritarianism. She included a clause of job reservation in government services for the dependents of fighters of liberation in the constitution. Due to rising unemployment, students revolted and indulged in violent protests, which made Hasina to flee to India and seek refuge. In a speech on air, Sheikh Hasina on 5th February accused the interim government in Bangladesh, led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, of destroying the country by sheltering extremist elements. In response to this live address, the memorial of Bangladesh founder, president and father of the nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, in the capital Dhaka, was stormed by hundreds of people and later torched and destroyed with bulldozers. Following the demolition of the memorial museum, another round of acts of vandalism were carried out against the statues of Mujibur Rahman and houses of Awami League leaders and party offices across the country. A mob also attacked and ransacked the house of the League's General Secretary. The destruction of the museum was carried out under the leadership of the Students Against Discrimination. Its convener wrote in his Facebook page that tonight Bangladesh will be free from the pilgrim site of fascism. Several groups and parties in Bangladesh condemned the vandalism and accused the interim government of failing to maintain law and order. A member of the left-wing Workers' Party of Bangladesh claimed that the act of vandalism of the memorial and museum as a continuation of last year's events following the ousting of Hasina. The forces began the regime change, but the religious parties, which did not like the values of liberation, secularism and democracy represented by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Fifth item, black workers getting organized more and more in southern states of US. Right to work laws were passed in the referendums in Arkansas and Florida states, and they became the first states to enact such laws. Don't get deceived by the name of the law, right to work. It's actually, the content is different. Martin Luther King Jr. vehemently decried the racist nature of such laws. The civil rights leader said in 1964 that the act's purpose is to destroy labor unions and the freedom of collective bargaining, by which unions have improved wages and working conditions for everyone. Wherever these laws have been passed, wages are lower, job opportunities are fewer, and there are no civil rights. Today, right to work laws are in full force in 26 states, including in every single state in the US South. Organized labor has long opposed right to work legislation. According to the AFL-CIO, that American Union Federation, right to work laws are designed to take away rights from working people. These laws protect workers against being forced to join a union. The real purpose of such laws is to tilt the balance towards big corporations at the union center. These laws have not stopped the union movement from growing despite historically hostile conditions prevailed. Workers at the Volkswagen factory in Tennessee state made in history in April of last year. Workers voted yes to unionize with the United Auto Workers. The national union coverage rate stood at 11.2% as of 2023, while the rate was as low as 3 to 5.4% in southern states of US. Next, comrades, we go to Panama. Over 400 construction workers of Suntrax Panama Union were arrested on 12th February when they were protesting against the privatization of Social Security. They also protested the right-wing government's subservience to far-right US Donald Trump, who has threatened to take back the Panama Canal. As per Bill 163, the retirement age and contributions of the workers will be increased. Billions of dollars will be handed over to private entities. They have continued to protest outside the national parliament, which is set to debate the bill. Seventh item, comrades. Palestinian doctor tortured in Israeli prison. Gaza's Kamal Adwan Hospital director, Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, was imprisoned by Israel at the end of December 2024. Dr. Abu Safia suffered the same methods of torture inflicted by Israeli forces on all other Palestinian prisoners, including having his hands tightly shackled and being forced to kneel and sit on gravel for hours. He was given electric shocks also. He was denied proper medical treatment, though he became critically ill. Dr. Abu Safia was finally allowed to see his lawyer. Abu Safia had been isolated from the other prisoners for 25 days. He was given only 1 meal a day of less nutrition. Scabies and skin diseases infected many prisoners. Palestinian and international organizations demanded the release of Dr. Abu Safia and hundreds of health assistants detained as prisoners in Israel. Next, comrades, U.S. pressure on Jordan. Alam al-Tamimi, a Jordanian Palestinian national, was the first woman to join the military wing of the Hamas. Al-Tamimi was freed from Israeli prisons in 2011 as per a deal between Hamas and Israel. However, in 2017, the U.S. Department of Justice filed criminal charges against Al-Tamimi, placing her on the most wanted terrorist list of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and demanding Jordan to hand over her to the United States. During his first presidential term, Trump also pressured the Jordanian government to hand over Al-Tamimi over to the U.S. Due to the increased pressure of U.S. on Jordan to extradite freed prisoner Alam al-Tamimi, Jordan called on Hamas to arrange her deportation from Jordan, or she would be handed over to the U.S. An arrest warrant was issued against her by the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol. In September 2016, Alam was arrested by the Jordanian branch of Interpol. She started the legal fight against the U.S. extradition request through Jordanian courts. In 2017, a Jordanian court ruled that Alam could not be extradited as he has Jordanian citizenship, and because of a 1995 extradition treaty with the U.S. was not ratified by the Jordanian government. Although the Interpol dropped the arrest warrant against Al-Tamimi in 2021, Joe Biden administration said in 2022 that it was still seeking her extradition from Jordan. This has consistently provoked the anger of the Jordanian grassroots. Jordan is inclined to be subservient to U.S. Jordan refused to allow Jordanian prisoners freed through captive for prisoners swap deal between Hamas and Israel to enter the country. Trump's recent proposal that Jordan and other countries host displaced Palestinians from Gaza is yet another subordination to U.S. foreign policy. Next, comrades, ninth item. We go back to Africa. Cameroon's sugar workers strike. In the Central African country Cameroon, a largest sugar company owned by a French agro giant is there. Only 26% of the sugar monopoly in Cameroon is owned by its government. 74% shares are owned by the French agro giant Somdia Group. Labor unrest had long been brewing at the company due to low wages for back-breaking labor, expression of union organizing, and dangerous work conditions, leading to high accident rates. In just 8 months of the 2023 2022-23 growing season, at least 100 accidents were recorded, as per a report of the Seasonal Workers Union. The union also complained that the company violated a 1977 law which stipulates that victims of work accidents should be paid daily compensation, medical care and allowances in case of permanent disabilities. However, 90% of 8,000 workers who are temporary or seasonal are not fully compensated in case of accidents. Years of anger among thousands of workers finally boiled, and just days after the new chief executive officer took over in January, the CEO unilaterally downgraded the ranks of several workers. The sugar company's operations were paralyzed since the workers went on strike on January 26 and 27. After a week of peaceful strike, the company called the police. On 4th February, authorities fired about 20 tear gas cells. Water cannons were also used on the crowd. When the workers resisted, police shot a seasonal worker in the chest at close range, killing him on the spot. On 7th February, management held a meeting to negotiate with the union leaders. Wages increased. Workers resumed on 8th February. Lastly, comrades, Arusha Declaration. Arusha, that is the capital of Tanzania, in Africa again. The Arusha Declaration, a product of struggle against colonialism, emerged on 5th February 1967. Though Tanzania gained independence from direct colonial rule, it was threatened by indirect colonial rule in the form of neocolonialism. Imperialist countries in the global north had assumed they would be able to continue accumulating wealth through the exploitation and underdevelopment of African countries. The Arusha Declaration made it clear that the Tanzania would seek a path of development that would bring prosperity to its own people. The Arusha Declaration's main contents are socialism, people's democracy and self-reliance. After 1985, in the context of counter-revolution against socialist projects, a new generation of political leaders emerged in Tanzania. These bureaucrats, subordinated to the neoliberalism of the imperialist dictates. While the decade from the late 1980s to the early 1990s was a setback, Arusha Declaration is still alive and relevant among the 3 lakh strong organization, National Network of Farmers Group of Tanzania. The spirit of Arusha Declaration continues to permeate every corner of Africa. Thank you, comrades. Assalam. See you next week.